Well, howdy folks, Argsy here. The news is not good. I am afraid to report the planter, while not quite terminal, is going to take some time and some money to fix. In fact, the text told me we'd probably be better off pushing it down the hill into the trees and forgetting about it altogether. Not to mention, it's going to take some time to do. We're not going to get it done this planting season, which leaves us in a little bit of a sticky situation. Now, fortunately, I made a few phone calls last night, and the guy we're buying the bins off, well, looking at buying the bins off, Jim, he has a older case cyclo planter that he's finished using already. He's actually upgraded to one of the new early risers. He's obviously done pretty well over the last few years, new planter, new bins, etc. But he has a planter sitting there that's not of any use at the moment, and said we are welcome to pop over and grab it and use it to get our soybeans and corn finished off. So that is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to jump on the pickup, we're going to head over there, get that hooked up, bring it back, get it prepped, ready to finish the rest of those beans down in the field, and then we're going to move over the road. We've got the big field of corn to do, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. It's going to be a fun challenge, but that is what we've got to do. I'm not going to hold these guys up anymore. We're going to let them go because we're paying them by the minute just about, and the less I have to pay them to be here to tell me the bad news, the better. So let's get on the road and go and grab this planter. Now, just while we're on our way down to Jim's place to grab the planter, thank you everyone for the feedback on the potential lease of the land to the lodge owner, the guy in the helicopter. A few of you thought he might be a little bit crooked. So far the vibe I've got doesn't seem that way, but I am going to tread a little bit more cautiously. The idea of 20 grand just getting paid to us to secure the land did seem very, very appealing, but we are going to do a little bit more research. We got a little bit more communication from overnight, particularly a little bit more of an email with their proposal. So the deal they're putting forward is they'd pay us 20 grand now to lease the land. That's just to secure it, and then from now on every month we get 5 grand from them just to lease the land, and they are going to take care of all the costs to build the lodge, to set up all the accommodation, everything like that. But as some of you said, we might not actually want people just wandering around the farm aimlessly. There is some inherent risk that comes with that. So I am going to do a little bit more research. We might get a little bit of legal advice while we're at it and just see what the risks are to us, and whether, like some of you said, whether there might be a different way that we could earn a little bit of money. Yeah, leave that with me. We've got some more thinking to do, but we're on our way down to Jim's place. It's just around a couple of corners through here. It's a nice part of country actually through here. I quite like it. Some of the smaller fields actually, which are interesting. Not sure you'd make much off them, particularly considering, like some of ours, how much land there is locked up in trees and the like. So, pretty challenging land to farm, I would imagine. Anyhow, let's carry on down this way, get to Jim's, get this planter. Well, here we are, and it's good to see, actually get the chance to have another look at the bins. The more and more I see them, the more I think they're going to be perfect for us, perfect size for what we are going to need. But that looks like, to me, that is the planter that we've got now. I was a little bit dubious as to whether it was going to have dry fert or liquid fert bins on it. It looks like it's got some liquid fert tanks on it, which is great. It's exactly what we need because we already have liquid fert. So we'll just get backed up into there. Hard to tell how close we are, but we'll jump out and have a look, get things hitched up and be on our way. We'll get that hooked up there on the back of the pickup. Let's put a little bit of weight on the back there. Hopefully it's not going to affect our steering too much, although we do look like we're riding a little bit high, so we have to take it pretty easy on the way back. But this is going to make a huge difference to our planting. 12-row planter, so double what we were planting. Like I said, it's got the liquid tank on the back, so we don't have to worry about any extra fertilizer, any dry fertilizer. And then the 2 seed bins up there on the front. Match the tractor too actually, which would be kind of nice. So we're going to get this back and we'll go and get started on the planting. We'll head down to the soybeans first, although I will take it back past the yard. We'll get it hooked up to the tractor and filled up there because I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to just head down the ones and not need to refill with seeds. So we'll jump back in and get on our way. Heck of a nice guy is Jim. He really wants to see the locals succeed, and he likes to see the smaller farmer have the best chance they can. He doesn't want to see these big businesses come in and take over everywhere, so he's right on our side when it comes to making sure the farmer's successful, hence being so generous with loaning us some of his equipment. And I expect he's probably been a little bit generous with the price he's offering us those bins for, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. We will certainly be thinking about taking that offer up from him. Anyhow, let us carry on. We're going a little bit of a back way back, just mindful of not running the planter down the busier roads with lots of traffic on it, so we're just going to meander our way back down there, take our time, get back down and get started. So we'll get it all back to the yard nice and safe. We're hooked up to the tractor. I was just getting it all unfolded, making sure everything was working and running as I would expect it to. Everything looks pretty good. Jim seems to really look after his equipment, which is nice to see. So I think we're going to go and grab the skid steer, grab that pallet of seed. This is our last soybean seed. We've only got the one pallet left here, so fingers crossed that is going to be enough to finish that field. I'm optimistic it will be. But what have we got up the front here? We've got a couple of totes of fertilizer, and obviously all our corn seed, which we will be getting into a little bit later on today, all going to plan. So we'll grab the skid steer, grab the seed, and go and get the plants topped up. There we go, we're getting the seed put in there. In fact, it looks like that the planter has enough to take that whole pallet, 29.8 bushels, and that was all that was on the pallet, so that's good. So we'll go and grab the fertiliser as well, try and get that in. I'm just wondering, might have to come around the front to do that. Might be a little bit easier than reaching across and risking hitting one of the row units. So we will go and do that, and then we'll be able to go and make a start. So there we go, we've got that up in there. We'll just get the hoses connected, and then we'll open the tap and get that filling down into the fertiliser tank, and that'll be us done. It would be great to actually be able to use something like the manure system and pump some hoses or something like that and actually gravity feed one of these tanks into a planter, but that's one of the limitations we have here with the game. There we go, that is all filling up. Probably, by the looks of things, we might even use up that whole tote of fertiliser too. In fact, we have some really good capacity in this planter, so that bodes well, particularly as we jump into the corn, of not having to fill up quite as often. We've still got 4 boxes of corn seed, so there's every chance we're going to be running through it pretty quickly, but let's leave that there. Just going to go and check the tractor, make sure it's got enough diesel in it. We don't want to run over to the field and find we need to top up, and then we'll get going. Over half full, so that should be more than enough for us. So let's get that folded up and make our way down to the field. Well, if you remember when the planter broke, we were just up here on a long run through the field. I can see exactly where we finished. So what I might do, even though we're planting a little bit wider, I might still try and line up on that side. In fact, what I might even do, we're going to run all the way down the end here. We'll start another row, and then we can plant back along that straight edge on one side and back on the straight edge on the other. I think that is going to be the best solution here for us. So we've got our soybean selected. Just double check we're not going to put in something we're not meant to, having changed planters. We've got that all selected. That is all as it should be. So we'll get down here, get things unfolded, and we'll be able to get into it. We do have the row markers and everything like that, so hopefully they will all work, and we can mark out our next rows. So we make sure we do a nice straight job. But let's get turned into here. We will have to just unfold, because adjusting to a wider planter will take a little bit of time, and of course looking at that edge, that's not the straightest edge when we started the last row, so let's just overlap just a touch. Not ideal, but it is going to give us the best result in the long run. So we'll get that tidied up, move over just a little bit. I think if we were right about there, it'd be pretty good. A little bit more of an overlap than I'd like. Right, here we go, that's going to be best, surely. Yep, I can work with that. Right, let's get that turned on. Yeah, it's all working, that's a good start. Lower that down. Our row markers will go out. There we go, next best thing. And we'll go forwards, and there we are, more soybeans going in the ground, which is fantastic. Who would have thought, after the day we had yesterday, that we would be planting here with a 12-row planter we're borrowing from one of the other farmers in the region. Just glad that we were able to be back here in the field, and it hasn't actually cost us too much at this point, apart from a few hours in time. So let's carry on. We'll jump into a time lapse here on the planting, and we'll catch up with you, fingers crossed, when the field's finished, or hopefully not if we run out of seed, but I'm optimistic that we've got enough to get this one done. Well, this planter has not skipped a beat at all, and we're done with soybeans, which is pretty darn exciting. Nice to have the first of our crops completely finished. Must admit, I was getting a little bit nervous sort of halfway through getting that done. We were going to run short on seed. We seemed to be chewing through it on the other side of the field, but fortunately, once we came over this side, there was only half a dozen shortish passes left to get it done, so that's good. Interesting to see the different textures as well. This used the planting texture when working in a ploughed part of the field, and you can see the original planter we used around the outside there just put down a sort of harrowed rolled texture, so a little bit different there. Nice to see it having that planted texture though. So let's get on back up to the yard. We need to go through, make a few changes to the planter to get it set up for corn. We need to get all the soybean seed out of there, top it up with liquid fertilizer, and then get some of the corn seed into it, and we can get on over the road and get started planting the corn, which is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to getting into that. A little bit apprehensive about how much seed we're going to go through. We've got 4 boxes to use, so there'll be a lot back and forth filling it up. I'm just trying to decide. We might no, we won't actually. We'll probably run back and forth between the yard, just for the fact we'd need the skid steer over there to use the pro boxes and lift them up to fill the hoppers. At least with the soybeans, we could manually handle the bags. So probably going to have to run back and forth between the yard, but that's alright, it's not too far to go at all. Anyhow, carry on down here, get back and get things set up to move into this field here on our left. First things first, let's see about getting some of this seed put up into these seed boxes. I'm hoping, I actually have to hop out and have a look. Pretty sure these have a slot underneath them, like a gate or something. Will they have a gate on the front we can open? I can't actually remember. Can't tell. Right, we'll just put it over the top. Oh, there we go. It is openable, isn't it? You flick that switch and that opens the bottom. Right, well, let's see what happens then as we go in over top of here. See if we can get some seed put into the box. Hopefully we can get up high enough that we're not going to hit that row marker. And there we go. Right, well, that's filling up. That's good. That's a good start. Let's see how much of this it's going to take. About 50%. So that's not too bad. It means we can fill up the seeder, like the planter, 8 times from one of these, or from the 4 we have, which is a good reference point to have as we go around the field. Now, if you paid attention, the soybeans were going at about, get that stuck on there, the soybeans were going at about 3.3 bushels an acre with the seed, so it'll be interesting to see when we get over the other side what sort of ratio and speed the corn seed gets put on with. Let's grab this other fertilizer. We will top things up while we're here. Might as well head on and over with a full planter and make a start on it. Now, I did keep track there, I think, bouncing, slow down Argsy, I think we did 5.7 acres of planting with this planter, so we would be able to have a look between this and the other one how many soybeans we planted overall. But what I might do as well, just get this up here and get this filled up. Right, pretty much took the whole one of those too. Crikey, I hope we've got enough fertilizer. But what I was going to say is we will just have a look at the statistics page. We should be able to get a pretty good handle on exactly how much planting we've done today, which is just purely soybeans. The total today of planting 38.96 acres, and that is all soybeans. So we've got pretty much 39 acres of soybeans, which I'm pretty happy with. I wasn't sure where we were going to end up with to start with, but that is a pretty good figure. I'm happy with that. Considering where we started out, I think someone figured out we had about 26 acres last time. So through the field expansion we did, we've pretty much added 50% to our harvestable area just in soybeans, which is, in my opinion, a pretty good result. Right, that's us full of seed, full of fertilizer. Get this folded up, head on over the road and go make a start on some corn. Let's get this unfolded and make a start on corn. Now, I have found there is a keybind to reset our worked area, so we've set that back to 0 so we can get an exact reading here on how many acres of corn we're going to put in, but everything else looks just fine, so we'll get that powered up, get it lowered down, put our row marker out because we're running around the headlands, so that will make things much easier to keep track of, and we'll get planting with some corn. Exciting to be in this field and getting the corn done. Not sure how long it's going to take, could be some time, but it'll be worth it in the end, won't it? I'm liking the look of this field now too. Having merged it just makes everything makes so much more sense than it did beforehand. So I think come harvest time we're going to be in a pretty good position. And we're definitely chewing through the fertiliser, but interestingly enough, not using the seed anywhere near as fast as I thought we might have. I honestly thought the soybeans would have been a much lower demand for seed than the corn was. I thought corn had a higher seed demand, so interesting to see that. We're on variable speed rate. We are. Variable seed rate is set to auto, so well, we may do with that. We're not going to complain if that's the case. We don't have to use as much seed. Of course, FBN will take back any we haven't used, which is even better. Means we don't have to pay for it. Which does remind me, we haven't actually paid for any of our consumables yet, any of our inputs, so we do need to make sure that we can cover that bill when it comes time. It is all on that 0% finance that we had at the end of last year. So I think often what they require is payment on and around when you start to get some of your income from your crops. So fingers crossed we can cover across till then and make some money. Anyhow, I'm going to stop talking, we're going to get planting. We'll catch up with you in a little while, see how things are going. Well, I think there might be some error with the bushels an acre meter down the bottom, because it was telling me 0.8 bushels an acre, but we've just gone through all of that seed in 6.5 acres. So I wonder if it's around the wrong way. I wonder if it's 0.8 of an acre per bushel is what we would seed, which probably makes a little bit more sense. 0.8 of an acre to a bushel, maybe 10, I don't know. Anyhow, it did throw me, but the seed usage has worked out to be more in line with what I expected. What's more concerning is our fertiliser usage, and we have gone through almost 30% of it already, so a little bit of a worry that we won't have enough to get that done. But anyhow, so far so good. We're getting into it, we're getting through it, and once we get on up and down rows, we should go a whole lot quicker. As you can tell, 6.5 acres done already, and that's just 1.5 headland laps, so cover a decent amount of width, particularly with this big 12-row planter. Anyhow, let's go and get topped up and get back down and carry on. We're back here full of seed and topped up with as much fertiliser as we had. We're just going to carry on running around the headlands. My plan is to do 3 laps. I think that will give us the best space to be able to turn around this planter. It does require a little bit more space, but we managed it in the previous field without too many issues. So that's the plan, 3 times around, and then we'll do some up and down rows. And we're going to start those off this long edge over here, I think being the longest straight edge in the whole field makes the best decision, best choice of where our rows would start off, and then when we come to harvest we'll know exactly which way we need to harvest to follow along with those. So a bit more of a time lapse, we're just going to carry on, we'll see how we go. Might try and put it together a little bit of a montage as we get a bit further through this field onto some more straighter up and down rows. But anyhow, sit back, relax, and we'll catch up with you when we get a bit further through. Well, 13 acres in, and we're just about empty on a seed again, but things are going surprisingly well. I think we're going to be alright on fertiliser actually. We've got 56% left. There's not actually a huge amount of the field left because of those headland passes that we've done, so I'm feeling pretty optimistic. But we're going to head back up to the farm now. We'll get to the end of this row hopefully with the seed we've got, and then we're going to get filled up again. Oh, what is it this time? No way. Alright, let's go and have a look at this. Oh, we can't be unlucky twice, surely. Everything looks alright along that side. Everything's good there. Ah, there's our culprit. It's a shear bolt. I can handle a shear bolt. We can fix that pretty easily. Anything else, and we would have been in for a little bit of a nightmare, but shear bolt's doing what it's meant to do. It breaks, so nothing else does. So, whew, dodged a bullet on that one. Right, well, in that case, we'll fold up here, we'll head back on over to the yard, get that fixed, and be back over here in no time. Let's just take a quick look there. Right, one of those, and one of those. We'll just pop on over here. We should have each of that. There we go, we'll grab that wrench, grab the hammer, nothing like a bit of gentle persuasion, and I think, yeah, there we are, bolts in the appropriate bolt containers right there in front of us. So, let's go over. 5-minute job this should be, so we'll get in, get this repaired, replaced, and then we'll get topped up and be back out in no time. Well, there we go. I said that wouldn't take too long, so that means we can get back out and carry on planting. Now we've got to get some seed in. We've already got that sitting there because we were just about out when we ran into our little issue. Fingers crossed we can get through without breaking any more shear bolts, but let's get that started up, and we'll just get out far enough. We don't need to unfold it this time to load up. If we just get out far enough, we should be able to. Can't contort myself around that far. Let's just have a look. Yeah, that'll be about right. We should be able to reach up there. Right, let's go and jump on this good steer and go and get some more seed put in. There we go, that should be pretty much full. Turns out we do need to unfold it to get some more seed put in, but that is looking not too bad. Right, only what, 6.7 bushels left in this one? Not too much at all, just leave that there. And what have we used? We've only used up one already, so we've still got 2 more bins in here, so I'm not sure how much that we're going to actually need, which is good. Like I said earlier, we'll be able to send that back with FBN if we don't need it all, but we'll get this folded up and we'll head on back over to the field. And straight back into it, corn going back into the ground, which is fantastic. And of course, just looking back across, decent amount of the field still to go. We do have some good long runs here to get into though, so hopefully that's going to go reasonably fast and not take us too long. We've done, what have we done? 13.3 acres, and I think this field's about 26, 22, somewhere around there, maybe 24, I can't remember exactly. We did have a look before, but we're definitely at least halfway, if not a little bit further through. But let's just keep an eye on the seed. Of course, if we are at that level, which I just said, if we are about halfway through and we haven't quite used up half the seed, so we probably might go through a little bit more than I thought, but we'll keep tabs on it and just see where we end up. But anyhow, I think it's time for a little bit more of a montage this time, so get going with that and see once we've made, well, probably once we've finished the field. We'll just see how we go. Well, would you believe it, we have ended up with more than enough fertilizer. I thought we were going to run well short and potentially have to go and find some more, get topped up, but we've actually got, what, 200 gallons left, so it's actually a decent amount in there, and that is us all finished for planting this season, which is an exciting milestone to have here on the farm. Just thinking we might go out this entrance, seeing we're right over in this corner, but what do we end up with? 23.3 acres of corn and just short of 40 acres of soybeans. So compared to last season, I think we have made a huge increase in the amount of land that we will be harvesting come autumn. So that's exceptionally exciting. Very, very excited about that one. I don't know if exceptionally exciting is the way to see it, but very excited. Very excited to get that all finished. Let's get on up out here. The seed is pretty dirty, the plant is pretty dirty, the tractor's pretty dirty. So we will go and pull out the hose back at the yard and we will go and get that all washed off and cleaned off. We don't have to get it back to Jim, he's in no hurry to get this, so I'm not sure what we're going to do for the rest of the day. We might do a little bit of maintenance. I've got a list of things we do need to do. Thinking forward, we're going to have to think about some spraying. I'm assuming we might have some weeds we're going to have to deal with, plus make some plans for the bins, make some plans for getting those. We're going to have to find an auger. Of course, we do need an auger to be able to fill those, and I do want to cast my eye over that truck and see if we can figure out why it wasn't tipping properly. So lots still to do here on the farm, but to have planting in the book and all finished is a fantastic achievement, and something we are very, very happy about. So let's get back over, get this washed up and tidied up, and we'll probably be wrapping things up here for the day. Right. Well, there we go, we've got the hose, we'll get that turned on. There we go, that looks like it's working really well. And we will just go around and get as much of this dirt and grime and everything like that off all the planter, off all the row units, and make sure it's looking nice and clean. So when we do run it back over to Jim, over to his farm, we will be taking it back in hopefully better condition than it was when it arrived here. We do have to get all the seed and fertilizer out of it too. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do to take care of all that, but there we go, that's starting to look much better. Give the tractor a once over while we're here as well. This definitely is going to need some maintenance at some stage. Look at how worn that paint is, but obviously looking at our money situation, we've got better things to be spending that on at the moment. So anyhow, very pleased to be finished with the planting. We'll go and have a quick look in just a second at our fields, and then we'll be wrapping things up. Look at that, beautiful, nice red. It's actually a nice combo, isn't it? The International up front and the Case International on the back. Right, let's go and just take a quick look at these fields. So there we go, all of that corn has been planted. If we take a look here at our soil information, you can see we've got a good nitrogen through there, which is what we want on our corn. Obviously the soybeans, not quite as critical there on nitrogen. We do have a little bit of different shading, particularly where it was grass into different crops, but that's all looking really good. And final check here on hectares planted, or acres planted, 62.31 acres total that we have planted. So like I said, huge improvement on what we had last season already. So if we can realise a good yield, a better yield, and then maximise our prices, then things are looking pretty rosy for the farm. So I'm quite excited about that. Anyhow, that is going to wrap it up for us today. That is wrap on planting. Very excited. We'll be back probably next month, taking a look to see what we have to do with with spraying or anything like that, or starting to make some plans for harvest season, particularly bins and an auger. Yeah, lots to do. Anyhow, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.